the corner for the lead. Harris! Harris! Morant in a thicket of defenders. No! Loose! Diving! Collision! Harden! Embiid!
Well, we've been waiting for the NBA and the National Hockey League to step up and be exciting, and they did last night. Oh, my goodness. What a night of hockey and basketball. Philadelphia 76ers, I don't have the exact data in front of me, but I do know they were down by about 20 last night. This is interesting to see. A Daily Sports Podcast, News and Area 6, Gambling, etc. Tobias Harris with the corner three for the lead. Ja Morant comes up short on the floater. There's a scrap for the rebound. And your Philadelphia 76ers come from behind to beat the Memphis Grizzlies. At halftime, let's see if I can do math. 22 plus 25 is 47. 37 plus 22 is 61. 47 to 61 at halftime. And then the Sixers, they win by 6 in the third, and then they had an 11-point comeback to win by 5. So they were down. Down 15 after 1. They cut it down a little bit. It cut it down a little bit. Sixers are under Doc Rivers and under Brett Brown was his name? I forget. Doesn't matter. They have been, since Joel Embiid has been there, an electrifying team at home. Just insane at home. They're not very good on the road consistently, but they are good at home. James Harden, 40 minutes, 31 points. Joel MVP'd. 27 points, 19 rebounds. Pretty crazy. Other scores from the association last night. A big win for the Lakers, who are trying to make the playoffs. LeBron said during whatever, the All-Star break, was it? Yeah, he said, I'm not going to miss the playoffs, essentially. We're going to try really hard. I'm not going to miss the playoffs. No more load management. They beat the Warriors last night. How about that? How about the Lakers beating Steph Curry? The Warriors are currently the 10th seed, and the Lakers are currently the 13th seed. So they're trying to catch the Jazz for the 9th seed, which is a play-in game against the 8th seed. So it's just, at this point, it's just LeBron versus MJ. There's all that stuff right there at the bottom of your screen. Cannot even see the Lakers on my stream. Yeah, that's how low down on the screen they are. In the Eastern Conference, the Celtics are on top. They are one game ahead of the Bucks. The Bucks have 2 games in hand, though, so they haven't played them yet. And the Sixers have a couple games in hand as well. They're 3 games back. It's a 3-team race for number 1. Cavs are hanging around. Let's go to the National Hockey League, if you don't mind. Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers go into Pittsburgh for a star-studded matchup against the Penguins, and the game turned out to be really good for the first 10 minutes, 12, 15 minutes, and then the Oilers just beat the shit out of them. Connor McDavid with probably the goal of the year.
Warning call against Ricard Raquel, second power play for Edmonton. McDavid looking to tie it right here. Short side, and he does! Unreal placement over the right shoulder.
So, yeah, good goal there by McDavid if you can't hear. Let's watch it, though. He is behind the goal line when he shoots this puck. Shush. Let's go ahead and do that. Don't want to get DCMA'd. So here he is. Look where there's the puck right there on the goal line. There it is. There it is. And then he shoots it. Look where he is. Come on, Internet. Don't be this guy. It's been happening at 7:30 every day. What if we go backwards? Anyway, he was behind the goal line. He was behind the goal line, and he shot it over the goalies. It hit him in the back and banked in. Brilliant. He was unreal. Other storylines from the NHL this year that have been kind of cool and fun. I think the most interesting and the one that everyone's talking about, Tage Thompson, was this guy. He was a prospect. He's getting better. He's getting worse. He's taking a long time to develop. For the Buffalo Sabres, they bring him up last year. He played really well. And then, out of nowhere, they paid him an ass ton of money. Just a huge sum. And you're like, well, this guy hasn't even really played. What are we doing? The NHL has largely been a lot like a lot like Major League Baseball, which is players are rewarded for their past success with enormous contracts instead of projecting to what they will be. The NFL is a bit of both. I think veterans are overpaid and like rookies are clearly aggressively underpaid. But they also, players in their prime are paid projections of what they think they're going to be. So the NHL started to switch to that model. There's a player for Minnesota that got a big deal, and it's a big debate among older hockey guys. Like, how are they going to get all this money? They've only played like 90 games or whatever. And the NHL's like, shut up, dude. We know he's good. Shut the fuck up. So one of those guys is Tage Thompson, who took a couple of years to develop in the minors. He plays like relatively a handful of games, and now he's like the second best player in the NHL this year.
Behind the defense, and the pass will not get to him. But following up is Thompson with another breakaway. Thompson! Tommy Dangles with the hat trick!
Just filthy. The leg lift. Look at the leg lift. Watch him lift this leg.
With another breakaway. Thompson! Tommy
Just
Dangles
filth.
with the hat trick!
Hat trick for the Buffalo Sabres. They are in what is a crazy wild card race between, just off the top of my head, the Rangers, the Capitals, the Panthers, the Red Wings, the Sabres, the Penguins. So there are 6 teams in the NHL. We'll go to the standings real quick. There are 6 teams in the NHL Eastern Conference that are going to the dance. They would have to fall off the face of the earth to miss it. It's crazy. Bruins, Leafs, Lightning, they're in. And then the other division, Canes, Devils, Rangers, they're in. Then the Islanders, Penguins, Capitals, Red Wings, Panthers, Sabres, Senators are all in. And even if you squint, the Flyers are not out of it, which is important to me because I said that they would go. Excellent NHL slate last night. Bunch of overtime games, bunch of one-goal games. There were, I could be wrong, there were like 4 overtime games, and 2 of those overtime games went to overtime because teams scored goals with the goalie pulled. The Bruins beat the Kraken in a potential Stanley Cup final preview, 6-5. The Knights beat the Flames in OT for 2 teams trying to make the playoffs. The Oilers destroyed the Penguins, as we mentioned. Final score of that one, 7-2. And my Red Wings continue to stay the second hottest team in hockey. Second hottest team in hockey. They're 7-3 or something. The hottest team in hockey, the Carolina Hurricanes. The Sabres do hold on to beat the Lightning in overtime with the Tage Thompson hat trick. In the NHL right now, the NHL trade deadline has been moved. I don't remember the last time they did this, but it's become quite a bit later, which is good because you make trades and then you fall off, and it's not like basketball. I think the NHL, actually I think the NBA is in a league of its own in terms of how trades can impact things. So the NHL, MLB, and NFL, a big trade is not enough. Usually teams that are trying to make a run will need to make like 2 trades or more, like to add a couple things, because it's so much, you're so reliant on your teammates that, yeah. With basketball, if you trade for Kevin Durant, like it's potentially a game-changing situation if he's ever healthy for the Suns. He still has yet to debut for the Suns, but that's smart. Just get in the playoffs and let him get healthy for the playoffs. I mean, you're trying to win a championship. So the NHL trade deadline, that's all to say that the NHL trade deadline has been moved back a little bit. It's now March 3rd, and it didn't happen this year. It happened a while ago. I don't remember, but the buzz on Patrick Kane is getting really interesting. The Boston Bruins have entered the fray, allegedly. So their core unit is getting kind of old. They can't afford all of them. Patrice Bergeron, one of the top 10 players of the last 10 to 15 years. I mean, he's gotten probably as high as 1 or 2 at times, probably as low as 10, depending on any given week or whatever. He's looking to retire. They've got Brad Marchand and David Pastrnak. They call it the perfection line. They're really good, and Boston's by far the best team in the NHL this year, by far. And now they're kicking the tires on Kane. That means if they don't win this year, it'll be done, because I don't think Kane is going to sign in Boston. He's a free agent, so he's a rental, which makes this even weirder. But boy, that would be something. Because Kane, unlike all of those Bruins players, is actually really fucking good in the playoffs. The Bruins should have had more Stanley Cup wins over the last 12 years, but they just haven't. They got rid of some of their hard guys, and then they couldn't play tough playoff hockey, which is part of the deal. There are reports surfacing that Bezos is closing in on a deal for the Washington Commanders. Which would be hilarious, because then Dave Snyder, or Daniel Snyder, the owner of the Commanders, like the worst owner and boss, like maybe in America right now. He's been saying that Bezos has been planning the stories in the Post, the Washington Post, which he owns, to get Snyder out so that he could buy the team. That's what's happening. Yeah, well, if you weren't such a piece of shit, this wouldn't be a problem, bro. Like, I mean, you did it to yourself. The XFL clutch kicker last night to win the game. St. Louis, the Battlehawks, beat the Seattle, I think, Sea Dragons. Play football in football season. God damn it. Play football in football season. That's my take. weekend slate for college basketball will be fun. It's going to be one of those weekends that will be fun to wake up and maybe put on a ball game at noon or 10 a.m. depending on where you live. Texas at Baylor is the big one everyone's paying attention to. Other interesting games, I'm kind of interested in Virginia versus UNC. UNC could potentially be the first ever preseason number 1 not to make the tournament. They have Virginia's number 6 in the country. They're headed into Chapel Hill. I like day games better than night games for basketball. Indiana's playing Purdue in a game of like who will choke harder in in the postseason. TCU Texas Tech will be fun. A lot of good college basketball this weekend. As far as the NBA and the NHL, I think I'm going to keep paying attention to the Lakers because LeBron said they were going to continue to be good. Day game tomorrow. Are there any day games tomorrow? Yes. Raptors and Pistons, no one cares. Oh, yeah, tomorrow night. That's right. Tomorrow night in primetime, Celtics, Sixers. They're always on a collision course in the playoffs. The Sixers just cannot get the better of the Celtics in the playoffs. It's just not a thing that happens, man. I don't know. I think it's just in their head. But also the Sixers are just better at home. So I fully expect the Sixers to win that game and then lose to them in the playoffs. It's just, you've been watching the NBA for the last 10 years. That's how it's gone. 10 years, 7 years. Whenever Embiid got there is kind of when that started to happen. Somebody made a TikTok of LaMello Ball, the NBA star, leaving the arena or the practice arena, and he's just committing aggressive traffic violations in super expensive cars. Look, there's that purple, it looks like a Range Rover. Look, runs a red light. What's up? Then here he is just cutting off pedestrians. Like, I want to hear the sound of this. Let's hear it. Look at him. It's like, okay, you want to go? The real question is, who's the snitch that made this video? And will LAPD do anything about it? Look at him. Look at him going around this guy. Oh, Mello. What can I say? I hope nobody snitches, man. All right, back and better than ever Monday morning.